Hello everyone, welcome again to our webinar 2016 Holiday Weekend by the Numbers. Today we will be sharing all of our holiday weekend data and offer some recommendations for you to implement as the holiday season draws to a close. Before I begin, I just want to remind you to ask questions throughout the webinar. You can ask questions in your control panel on your GoToWebinar control panel, We'll have a question portion at the end of the webinar where we will answer all of your questions. So please, any questions, just ask. Now, before I begin, I just want to start with a little bit about NetElixir. So our team, we are 110 plus phonetically analytical search marketers operating in 3 countries. To the right, you can see some of our clients. In addition, we are both preferred partner of Google and Bing, and we are also the CTP vendor with UPS. Our value is combined our expertise and proprietary technology to help businesses get found, convert visitors to customers, and acquire game-changing consumer insights. Now here you can see a breakdown of our services, so of what NetElixir can offer you. So first, starting with services, these are paid search and shopping management, SEO, and both paid and organic social. Then we move on to our technology. We have free apps for small businesses in our Elixir marketplace, and then we also have more heavy-duty tools that would be our paid tools, that would be Elixir SEO and Elixir Guide. Finally, we also offer consulting services such as analytics and on-demand tech support. Now, before I turn it over, here is a little bit about our speaker today, Udayan Bose. He's the founder and CEO of NetElixir. Prior to NetElixir, he founded PartyBingo.com. He's also the guest lecturer at Johnson School of Management at Cornell University, City University of New York, and the Indian School of Business. Now on to our webinar.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Julia. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Holiday results are always exciting. And we have been at NetElixir following the holiday results very, very closely. And the basis of this presentation is all the data that we have acquired from our customers, our holiday retail customers. This includes a little more than 11 million visits that we have tracked between Thanksgiving Day and Cyber Monday. We have captured the data separately for mobile and desktop. And last but not the least, we use our own tool, Elixir Insights, to really gain insights into as to how people search, how they shop, and how they buy. So today I'll be sort of sharing with you some of these insights. And we started this. We probably were the first company to come up with the holiday projections in the month of August. And let us see as to how exactly we have done versus the projections that we had made as well. In terms of year-on-year change, during this 4-day period between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday, the overall online sales year-on-year went up by 15%. We tried to dive a little deep, and one of the very, very interesting insights, look at the growth that the southern states have given in terms of online. We are looking at a 28% growth in the southern states. The coasts have been steady, not great. Northeast at 10.6% has been probably a little lower than it was last year. The West Coast basically is probably at roughly the same level as it was last year at about 14%. Midwest was a bit of a disappointment. We were expecting closer to about 10%, so that was a little lower than what we had expected. But I must say that all of us at NetElixir were very pleasantly surprised by the 28% growth which was shown by the southern states. Overall, nationally, the sales went up by about 15.2%, which was pretty strong. It wasn't exceptional. It was stronger than expected. We also, I mean, since being a search marketing specialist company, we also are sort of very closely tracking on a real-time basis all the key paid search metrics. When I say paid search, it includes Google, it includes Bing, it includes Yahoo Gemini, and the average cost per click, or CPC, went up by about 4.1%. Again, a very moderate growth, and I'll sort of get to some of the reasons for that, but the biggest reason is the mobile accounted for a significant chunk of all the clicks that we sort of got this year. And as a result of it, the mobile CPCs are already a little lower. And as a result, we, if you really do a weighted average of all the clicks which are there, the CPCs normally come down. So 4.1% was, I'm sure, lower than what Google would have liked to see it or Bing would have liked to see it at. But again, a big reason was the huge surge of all the mobile searches and the clicks. And mobile clicks and CPCs still are about 20 to 25% cheaper than the desktop CPCs. Moving on to the impressions, we saw a pretty decent surge in impressions, about 24% growth in the impressions. So impressions are basically how many people are searching for a word and how many people are seeing the ads, etc. Conversions were pretty strong, so about 19% growth in conversions. So what it essentially meant was a 19% growth in the number of orders, but just a 15% growth in terms of revenues, meant that the average order value was lower than last year, which I must say that we were all surprised with, because this was after the last 3 years, the AOV has been constantly going up. The last year, for example, I think the AOV went up by about 2%, the year previous was about 5% and so on. I mean, never have we seen a situation in the last 3 years where the average order value has come down marginally. Now, the question that we asked ourselves was, is it because the mobile purchases may not be of equivalent average order value as the desktop purchases? That seems to be one of the reasons. It probably is also a bit of a sign of the times, because the merchants were in a heavy, deep discount mode, and as a result of which the products were cheaper. So it just sort of everything combined together, but this 5.1% decline in AOV is something which we felt was a little unique, and we had not really observed this in the last 3 holiday seasons. Moving on, orders by day. Again, this is, you must remember that this is purely for our customers or our holiday customers as such, right? So the red pie is essentially Black Friday. The green pie is Saturday and Sunday. The big 39% is Cyber Monday, and the 10% is Thanksgiving. Now, again, this is purely for our customer base and is not probably reflective of the entire US e-commerce market. But just wanted to present it there. We thought that Cyber Monday was expected, so we really wanted to sort of dive in a little deeper and understand as to when were people really buying during Cyber Monday. But before I do that, let us sort of do a bit of a quizzing you, right? Almost like a poll. And I'll sort of hand it back to Julia to do the poll. So essentially, what in your opinion were the top times or time slot wherein essentially you felt that people bought the most? What was the peak time of online purchase in your opinion? During Cyber Monday only. Only just that one day, this Monday essentially. Well, I guess we'll sort of pause at this stage. We have about 70% who have voted already. And how are the results like? Okay. So we see that which is the first one? Noon to 8 is the leader, followed by 8 to, is it like 8 to midnight? And okay, which is at the same level at 6 to 12. Let us see as to how the actual results were. That's a fairly strong guess, I must say. So in terms of day parts, let me explain this graphs a little bit. The first one, orders, are essentially broken down by day parts. So it's like 12 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 8, and 8 to 12, essentially. Right. So so effectively, the number of orders peaked. Most people bought between 8 p.m. and midnight. To an extent expected, because some people tend to just sort of slow down a little bit, expecting that companies probably will increase their offers. I don't know if any of you really sort of purchased from Overstock, but Overstock was very interesting. So on Sunday, they come up with a 15% offer, which is increased to 16% by Cyber Monday. and then at about 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday, Overstock increased that percentage to 17%. So it was very interesting for us to see as to marketers have taken cognizance of the fact that some people tend to wait till the last minute before committing to a purchase. Very interesting sort of observation. But the other interesting observation also was a lot of people were searching also at that time. Look at the number of impressions and clicks also during that hour. That was interesting because normally in the previous years we have seen that people tend to search more during the most of the day and then buy during the last 4 hours. But in this case, it seems that people are searching as well as shopping both relatively more in the last 4 hours of the day. The reason it was interesting is, are we looking at mobile playing a role out here? Because as we know that mobile search and the shop process is a lot quicker compared to the desktop search and shop process. So maybe that may be a factor. But this is what, so essentially the winner in this part, the winning day part was between 8 p.m. and noon. Not noon, midnight. So moving on, we also try to have track, since there were so many questions, discussions on mobile, we really wanted to track the mobile share of visits essentially through all these 4 days, or 5 days. So essentially Thanksgiving, this blue bar that you see is the number of visits in 2015, which were accounted for by mobile phones. And the red bar or the orange bar is the percentage of visits accounted for by mobile phones this year. So on Thanksgiving Day, 48% to 57%. I still remember my holiday results deck last year. I think we did it on the 4th of December. And I said that a lot of people seem to be using their mobile devices rather than essentially socializing within their family on Thanksgiving Day. That seems to be almost like a very well-defined trend, right? 48% was pretty high last year. And I was personally blown away when I saw that 57% of all the searches which happened on Thanksgiving happened from a mobile phone. So mobile share of visits definitely have grown. At this pace, I mean, who knows, maybe we'll get about 70% share on Thanksgiving Day for next year. So Black Friday also saw a decent increase, 49 to 55. So overall, I think mobile surpassed desktop on all of these days in terms of searches. In certain cases, it's surpassed by a wide margin, like Thanksgiving Day was a 9% difference. You had a pretty different, around 5 to 6% difference in all the other days. So interesting, it seems very clearly the gap between the desktop and mobile seems to be widening constantly. And that's a very interesting trend which is sort of going on. Let me move on to the next one. How did we do in terms of sales? And when we say sales, when we say mobile share of sales, essentially the purchases are happening from your mobile phone, right? So mobile share of sales have grown marginally. They have not really skyrocketed, at least in our customer data. I mean, it was 37% last Thanksgiving. This year it went to 40%. Interestingly, Cyber Monday was pretty flat. So 31% last year and 31% this year as well. A very interesting trend. Mobile, 1 in 3 purchases are happening from mobile devices, which I think is pretty much in line with what we have seen for most of this year. So there are no major surprises there. Thanksgiving, again, if you really equate the percentage of visits from mobile versus the desktop, I think it's sort of translating into orders as well. So not only are people searching using their mobile phones, but they're actually buying using their mobile phones as well, which is to an extent expected, because that's typically a trend which is here to stay. Moving on, some of the observations, since the mobile seems to be the theme. In fact, I think that was the key sort of in this holiday season, or seems to be the theme this holiday season. We had a couple of observations which we found to be very unique and interesting. The first one, the voice-based searches have grown by 200%. Wow, that's a huge one, right? Who even thought of voice-based searches and their growth last year? Probably no one. And suddenly everyone is talking that voice search is probably the area where the battle would be fought for the next few or many years, right? I mean, 200% growth is something which cannot be ignored simply, right? It definitely is not really a calculation error, or it may not be essentially something which has just happened by default. This is a trend. This is a trend we are very clearly seeing here. And again, the trend becomes more pronounced because the voice searches mostly are happening from mobile phone. So just imagine this as a theme. The theme is mobile. Mobile has really facilitated a lot of voice searches. So for example, show me a flower shop, show me the closest florist in my location. All these are still near me searches. So are we looking at through this mobile and voice search combination? And probably the next one also is to an extent the same. The near me searches have gone by up by 45-50%. That's huge as well. So are we looking at mobile plus voice search almost like shrinking the internet? I don't know. It's probably starts breaking. So when we sort of just the initial phase was internet, everyone could sort of have a say. Now it seems with the mobile and voice search combination, we are getting to the back of the world of localization, what is near me, and so on. If that is the theme, that would be a very interesting theme to observe and detect and track. That's also a very encouraging theme, I would think, for the local businesses. And I know quite a few SMBs have joined us today on this call. So my request to all of you would be focus on strengthening your overall website and especially the mobile website experience, because it very clearly seems that there is a trend going local, right? And when you are just getting local, that's a very positive sign for SMBs, which you can really capitalize. But of course, you need to have a mobile first approach to the entire thing. You need to have a very mobile optimized website, and you need to really be able to provide your customer with an experience which really makes them commit to you or buy from your website. So, but we thought, well, that this was a very positive trend. And again, it's driven by mobile and the voice search combination. So based on this, we'll just sort of end with the last part of our presentation. So this is, we always come up with the recommendation, that's true, because we still have about 20 days left for this holiday season. And a lot will change in this holidays in the next 20 days, which is great. And there are very specific, I think about 3 or 4 recommendations that we have. Think mobile first, goes without saying. We also really wanted to have share with you typically a mobile website example from Tesla. These guys seem to be doing a fabulous job, and they're selling cars, right? And they're not really the most inexpensive cars that you would find. So they're pretty high-end expensive cars. And look at the amount of effort that they have spent in terms of mapping the user engagement, the user behavior, and trying to sort of design a mobile-first experience. I had made this statement multiple times during conferences, during webinars. Mobile now is the internet. Mobile is the internet, simple, right? So from that perspective, this is the onus is on you. How exactly can you really maximize the impact that this amazing device can really have on your business? The second part, this is, I'm sorry for a lot of the very technical dashboardy stuff, but we really wanted to say, I mean, if you are running a mobile search marketing campaign, and I would be very curious to know as to how many of you are running a exclusive mobile search marketing campaign. When I say exclusive, a separate mobile search marketing campaign. Primarily because our survey shows that 70% of the companies still are not really running a separate mobile campaign. Run a mobile search marketing campaign separate from the desktop campaign today, right now. Right? And this tells you as to once you are running the campaign, how exactly should you do the search term analysis. Rather than those screenshots, I would sort of request you to look at this line. So in the AdWords platform, click on this tab, which is the all online campaigns, then go on to keywords, then go on to details, choose all, select the device, and then you can get the dump of all the mobile search queries. Now, your success would be defined by how well and how efficiently you're able to identify those profitable mobile search queries and quickly build not only ad copies, but also landing pages around them, right? So but this is a unique opportunity. We would very strongly urge and advise, recommend that please have a separate mobile campaign. Please analyze the mobile search queries separately and use them in a smart fashion so as to be able to come up with a cohesive ad group and a campaign, which really is able to sort of help you get all these surge of visits from the mobile devices which is going on. The next one is implement automated scripts to monitor the CPOs, the cost per orders on a real-time basis, and refine the mobile bids. Now, again, this is something which you can very easily set up using your AdWords panel. So again, we'll be more than happy to share with you some of these scripts. I mean, if you are unable to figure it out using this process, I mean, please feel free to write to sort of Julia or me or anyone at university@netelixir.com, and we'll be more than happy to share with you the script, which you can implement to run this real-time bid optimization or bid management in a very effective way. It's a pretty straightforward process. Again, the theme and the focus that we have is very clearly mobile. Last but not the least, we have seen that a lot of advertisers just start a mobile search marketing campaign without really taking advantage of all the mobile ad extensions. So for example, things like call, the messaging, the pricing, I mean, there are a lot of options and a lot of ways that you can really take advantage of the mobile call extensions. So our request is please go ahead and just put some focus onto this thing, because the user behavior on mobile devices is very different from user behavior on desktop devices, right? When you are searching, just think of yourself. I mean, if you are searching using a mobile phone, it's a lot more impulse purchase. You probably are doing the search shop buy all together at different points in time. It's a lot quicker in terms of completing the customer journey. And your expectations are completely different. And the expectations being different means that you need to have a different, or you would probably expect a different sort of a mobile website or a mobile visibility. Also, you would probably sort of respond a lot better if the advertiser whose ad you are more likely to prefer has a very mobile specific campaign. So that's what our idea was, and ad extension can definitely help you do that. So that's what our top 3 recommendations are from this thing. Before we get into questions, I'll just sort of pass it back to Julia. But just one last thing that we had was we have carefully crafted, based on our last almost about 12 years of experience managing holiday retail marketers, what we call our holiday success checklist, right? These are almost like a list of to-dos that as a holiday search marketer retailer that you should do. The link is there. You can just go ahead, and it's basically posted on our blog. You can just go ahead and just download it directly from there. If you have a challenge, we'll be happy to sort of share the list with you, but we'll sort of open it up for questions now. Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like right now we have about 3 questions. So first one, what drove the large increase in the southern states?
That's a great question. Honestly speaking, this is a much bigger trend data that we wanted to share. And since the data is fairly normalized across the different type of industries, for example, when we analyzed, we had the consumer electronics, we had apparel, we had home improvement, home furnishings, gifting, flowers, everything, right? So it's a much bigger trend. And I think at this point in time, what we are presenting is our observation. At this time, I think it may not be fair for us to even comment on this part, but it just requires a bigger, I think, study, which may be beyond the scope of, I mean, I can make guesses, but I don't really want to misguide based on some guess, which is purely my personal opinion, which may not really mean much.
Okay, second question. Do you think people wait till the last minute because they're at work all day? This refers to the Cyber Monday.
That's a great point. That's absolutely the case. So again, Cyber Monday, we have seen that people tend to wait till the last minute to sort of buy. That, along with the fact that people keep on hoping that maybe the merchant will come up with a better promotion or a stronger promotion, is also a key driver. But you are absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
And then the last question that we have, do ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft contribute to the growth in mobile sales figures, or are they not considered in retail numbers?
For our study, we have not really considered them in the retail numbers, but that's a fabulous question. Just sort of probably digressing or deviating a little bit from answering this question. But anyway, not only deviating as such, because they are not really included in these figures. Uber very clearly is making some headway in terms of the Uber delivery services, right? So we would be very interested in seeing as to how the mobile plus local plus the Ubers getting into the logistics and delivery part plays into it next year, because we are fairly confident that Uber will sort of roll out this delivery services sometime next year, definitely before the holiday season. So it's a great question though. But for our study, this study, we didn't really include Uber and Lyft as the database. Yeah.
Sorry, there's more questions rolling in. So here's another question. Other than voice search, what would you say helps drive geo-targeted SEO?
I would probably sort of make it more of geo-targeted SEM, probably search marketing. So voice search seems to be a big driver. Mobile, as I have mentioned earlier, is a huge driver, primarily because, I mean, just think of it. How many times have you really searched for a restaurant near me, right? Or maybe a cinema near me, maybe a Macy's near me, I don't know. So mobile plus voice combination is huge. The other thing, again, sort of the verdict is out there. I mean, we don't really know for sure, but we feel that the mobile plus video combination, when it is utilized properly, is also able to drive almost like some sort of, I don't know, maybe a brand stimulus for people to go ahead and search for local stores and go there. But I would think it is just primarily mobile, voice search. There is a very, maybe some impact on the videos as well. Yeah.
Okay, and I think this question is a follow-up to the southern state question that we had earlier. It says there are more cell phone users in the southern states. Question: Where can we see mobile phone sales?
That's actually a beautiful point. The only caveat I would say is because we have been comparing year on year, so essentially it is like southern states versus southern states last year. Unless and until the growth in terms of cell phone usage has gone dramatically through the roof in the southern states, I think it's a fairly apples to apples comparison. We'll have to though check what is the overall mobile handset penetration in the southern states in 2016 versus 2015. But since we are comparing the one geography with the same geography again the next year, I would think it's a fairly apples to apples comparison. But you have a great point. I think it should be mapped in conjunction with the overall the mobile handset penetration as well.
And then one last question before we sign off, since we only have 1 minute left. What's your projection for overall holiday season online sales growth?
That's a very difficult one. I really wish I really wish we had initially sort of gone ahead and projected a 11% year-on-year e-commerce growth rate. That was our projection in August. Thankfully, this is one of those occasions where I am so happy that I was more conservative compared to what the actual numbers were. The Thanksgiving weekend that we had, I mean, when I say Thanksgiving weekend, Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, we observed a 15% plus growth. I really hope this trend continues to the end of the season. I would probably put in anywhere between 11 to 15. Specifically, be on the lookout for the Mondays, because normally the Sunday and Mondays have been normally pretty strong. So yeah, I would probably say peg it anywhere between 11% and 15%. So that's what my range is. Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. We are very happy to have you. That's the end of our presentation. You'll get a follow-up email from us with the details on the slides and the recording should you have any questions about that.
Thank you very much and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.